Welcome to Madame Raven's. This way to the library. She's been expecting you.
Tentacles by WEPD1985. I'm a 30-year-old man that lives in a very hot, chaotic, and crazy city from Latin America, known by its inhabitants as Chaos City, where almost everything is possible. But even though I'm quite passionate about the supernatural, sci-fi, horror stories, and a firm believer in the old saying, evil comes in many forms, I'm the only one from my group of friends that truly believes that aliens and ghosts are real, and my friends make fun of me because of that. But I never thought I would experience something so terrifying that night. It was a night like any other. It was 6 p.m., but the sky had darkened earlier than usual, and I was teaching my last online English class of the day through Skype. I was teaching one of my favorite students named Athena, who was a Venezuelan woman that lived in Mexico City. I asked her if she had any questions, and she said no. I reminded her to do her homework in order to continue her progress. I wished her a good night. We said goodbye to each other, and I ended the call. A couple of years ago, I had decided to work from home on my own business, since I was tired of the extremely low salary of my country's companies. I thought I made the right decision because it was going well for me. I planned to change my clothes to go out on my daily night run. I put on some black shorts with pockets, the white t-shirt I was wearing, and my running shoes. I grabbed my cell phone and organized a playlist of some old-school heavy metal songs that I wanted to listen to that night. I selected a song called Frayed Ends of Sanity from one of my favorite heavy metal bands and left it on pause. After that, I took my house keys and cell phone and put them inside my fanny pack. I opened my apartment door, went out and locked the door. I got into the elevator and went down to the ground floor. I opened my building's door. I put my headphones on and then put them almost at full volume. I started my run at 6:30 p.m. and was planning to run for at least an hour. My building was located on a closed neighborhood, and that makes it relatively safer, so I always had to walk all the way down a steep street that looked especially dark and creepy at night in order to reach the neighborhood's entrance, which was the exit as well. All along I had developed a good jogging pace and wasn't quite tired yet. But I had spent several weeks jogging inside my neighborhood, where I could only listen to my music, the sound of the trees and nature around me, which was a little creepy because one time a black cat scared the crap out of me. So I decided today was the day to try my luck at jogging outside my neighborhood, which scared me a little because of my city's insane levels of insecurity. So most of the people in my country are terrified to go out at night, so they avoid it. But I thought to myself, what's the worst that could happen? But I reminded myself that the only way to confront my fears was to face them head on, just like my old karate sensei had told me so many years ago. I looked at my watch, and I now had spent 10 minutes walking downhill. I got to the surveillance booth that's located at my neighborhood's entrance. I said hi to the security guard, went through the gate, and kept jogging. After that, I went up another steep street, which slowly got me far away from home. I felt pumped up by the heavy metal playlist. However, I noticed that the street was a little dark and creepy, so I increased my speed a little. I jogged in front of a luxurious hotel that was close to my neighborhood. Out of the blue, I started to hear the sound of a slight, strange, and spooky chanting in a language I could not understand, even though I'm a great translator. As I kept jogging, I could hear the chanting more clearly, and it started with a word similar to Mguli, and it ended with Snaggin, which I continued moving forward. The words became clearer when I was arriving at the avenue, across the street from a gas station I usually go to. I thought it was weird because the almost unpronounceable words I had heard seemed a little familiar. I don't know why I thought I had read or heard it before, in a book or on a movie. In that moment, I looked at both sides of the roads to cross the street. I waited for some cars to pass, and I crossed the street quickly but carefully. I felt a chill down my spine because now the chanting became louder and louder. Even though I was scared, I pressed on since I wanted to know who or what was making that noise. My heavy metal playlist kept me motivated. I passed through a busy hospital from the area and the park that is next to it. Strangely enough, both places were empty tonight. Later on, I took out one of my headphones to listen closely and understand the chanting better. But it was to no avail because I could not understand anything they said. In the distance, I could see 3 persons wearing black as night robes with hoodies, which did not let me see their faces, and held some torches in front of them. They repeated their chant over and over again. Mguli navga snug. And I thought to myself, what the hell does that mean? My fear kept increasing, but I kept walking while one of my favorite instrumental songs called The Call of Cthulhu blasted in my ears, which was based on a famous horror story, which was written by one of my famous writers, whose name I won't say here. So I kept jogging, but I did not have the faintest idea about what these people were trying to do. That was when I remembered a pyramid-like monument that always looked weird to me, which was close by after crossing the bridge over a river called Guerre. I was terrified and could feel very strange vibes coming from the monument. But I pressed on, although now I was walking instead of jogging, because I was trying that these people did not see me or know I was approaching them to interrupt their bizarre ritual. Since I was much closer to the area where the strange ceremony was taking place, now I could barely see 6 persons dressed with black hooded robes, which did not allow me to see their faces very well, even though their faces were lighted by some torches they held in front of them. They were standing in the shape of a circle inside the walls of a monument, also around a dark red pentagram that was painted on the floor with what appeared to be blood. However, this was not a normal pentagram, because it had a strange shape drawn in the center of it. Was also on fire, obviously thanks to a flammable liquid such as kerosene or gasoline. In the same way, the torches these people were holding were almost as big as an average-sized man. I was in shock and thought to myself, did those people make that figure with spray paint or blood? I think I should leave this place at once. But my curiosity is killing me. As the old saying goes, curiosity killed the cat. I stayed hidden behind some of the bushes that were close to the monument. Suddenly the chanting started to increase in speed, and they continued until they reached a crescendo. After that I felt even more scared because I heard a noise like a loud crack, and in that moment a bright blue small hole started to appear right above the monument, along with some small white rays that surrounded it. This hole started to expand little by little. It sounded as if 100 bees or wasps were flying above the monument. I kept staring at the portal in the sky, and I asked myself the following: what the hell is that thing? A portal to another dimension or time? Oh, it looks very similar to the portals in which the robots traveled back in time in that old 80s movie. The chanting continued, and I was still terrified, in shock and without being able to explain what I was seeing or hearing in that crazy place. But I wanted to get to the bottom of it all, and this macabre ritual was going to end. Out of the blue, a deep roar started to be heard from inside the portal, which sounded very similar to the strange sound made by a food chopper. Consequently, I could feel how the wind started to blow in a stronger way, and the speed of the chanting started to increase as well. To my absolute horror, I saw how a large black tentacle, similar to one of an octopus. I felt horrified again. I neither knew nor understood what the hell this portal creature was, but I felt the chanting rumbling in my mind. The portal attracted my gaze completely, and I could not look away from it. All of a sudden, 5 more tentacles came out of the portal, while the chanting continued, thanks to the presence of these 6 tentacles in the portal. The chanting stopped, and the very strange sound kept coming from the portal. It seemed the efforts of these persons to invoke it, whatever they wanted to invoke, were successful. Out of nowhere, my fear grew even more because the tentacles moved quickly out of the portal and grabbed 5 persons at the same time. In the midst of the chaos, the ones who were captured screamed, "No!" and claimed for mercy. But their shouting and pleas were all for nothing because one of them was decapitated. Another one got his left arm pulled out of its socket. Another one his torso severed from his waist. There was blood everywhere, and the other 2 were simply dragged into the portal, including the severed body parts. Immediately after the portal disappeared in the blink of an eye, the last guy who was left standing noticed this was happening right on time, so he jumped towards some tall bushes, and thankfully was able to get away from the evil tentacles. I gasped. I pinched myself on the right arm and rubbed my eyes to make sure what I was seeing was true. But sadly, I was not dreaming. And then I shouted, "Holy crap! I cannot believe that strange beast took them away!" But unbeknownst to me, the surviving worshiper had heard me and screamed at me, "Hey you, what the hell do you think you're doing?" I said, "Damn it, one of them got away and saw me. I'd better get the heck out of here." Ran away as fast as my legs could carry me. But the other guy threw his torch to the ground, put it out with several stomps. He jumped to get out of the bushes, and he came running after me. But I was able to cover a little more ground because I started to run before him. Also, I was running fast, but I was followed closely by this maniac, and I did not know what he was going to do to me to avoid that people knew about their weird ritual. I quickly ran all the way back to my neighborhood. First, I crossed the small bridge, ran in front of the hospital, the gas station, and the hooded man kept chasing me, and he shouted, "Stop running. If I catch you, I'll kill you, you bastard." But I was smart enough to keep running, and I shouted back, "I won't stop running away from you, not on your life." I also ran in front of the luxurious hotel until I had finally arrived to my neighborhood surveillance booth. I said hi to the security guard, whose name is Jose, and he responded, "Hey, dude, tonight's run took longer than usual, eh? What was all that screaming back there?" My pursuer hid behind some tall trees that were placed before arriving my neighborhood. I quickly looked behind me, using the reflection on my skull ring that I usually wore on my right hand, and I responded the following to Jose. "No idea, dude. You know, there are some crazy loud people out there at night." But Jose did not seem to believe me. He said, "Oh, okay. Come on in so you can go home. Be careful out there and have a good night." And I responded, "Thanks. Same to you, dude." After I said goodbye to Jose, I kept walking up for a few blocks until I got to my building because I was exhausted. I got in the elevator, went up to my apartment. I took a deep breath and thanked the heavens I was able to get home safe and alive after that terrible ordeal. I opened my apartment door and I could not stop thinking about what happened. I ate a sandwich for dinner. When I went to bed, I had nightmares about the things that I saw, and I decided that would be the last time I would run outside my neighborhood late at night, since I did not know that surviving members of the cult would be waiting to kill me. Nobody would know about it, and there's nothing more terrifying than that. So quoth this raven. Thank you so much for coming to my little chateau and visiting me. It means so much. It would mean so much more if you would subscribe and like the video. And please come again. I'll always have tea and cookies for you. And special thanks to my Patreon supporters: Ermin, Darren and Jennifer, Laura, Mutant Artificial Intelligence, Tabby Cat, Robert, and of course to Charlotte Emerson and Cortez Williams.